Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. This is lecture number 16. The name of the paper is Criticism 1, and we are studying Aristotle's Poetics. In Aristotle's Poetics, our topic is Aristotle's concept of tragic hero. This lecture is the continuation of lecture number 15 because in lecture number 15 we started discussing Aristotle's concept of tragic hero. And then we discussed the four qualities which the tragic hero must have. And after those four qualities and its discussion, we reached the point where three ways in which hamartia can arise is discussed, and we stopped there. So, therefore, it is the continuation of lecture number 15. The topic of both these lectures, 16 and 15 and 16, is Aristotle's concept of tragic hero. This is the remaining part of Aristotle's concept of tragic hero. And in this lecture we will learn the three ways in which hamartia can arise. This lecture is specifically for the students of BS English 5th semester GDC PABI, and it is also for the students of those colleges which are affiliated with Abdul Wali Khan University. So, the three ways in which hamartia can arise is part of that previous lecture, which was Aristotle's concept of tragic hero. Hamartia, as we will come to know here, it is called the error of judgment, also tragic flaw or a fatal flaw. It is a kind of miscalculation, and the error is not done intentionally, though in some cases it is intentionally, but it isn't often intentional, and it is not any moral failing. It is a kind of judgment, a kind of misjudgment, and there is an error in that judgment, there is miscalculation, and it can arise in three different ways. So this is the topic for now. What are those three different ways in which hamartia can arise, in which tragic flaw can arise? The first one is that it may arise when somebody is ignorant of the circumstances and he commits that error. In his ignorance, he doesn't know that he is doing something which will go against him, and he does this in ignorance. As we know, in the case of Oedipus, he is ignorant of the fact that he has killed his own father and that he has married his own mother. He is ignorant of the circumstances. Secondly, this error of judgment, tragic flaw, or fatal flaw can arise from some hasty and careless situation in which something is done hastily and carelessly without giving much thought and consideration. In modern dramas, not in Greek dramas, the example is Othello by Shakespeare. Othello is made jealous with the machination of Iago, and Iago is an evil character. He plays a big role in making Othello jealous, and as a result, he kills his own wife, innocent wife, Desdemona. And in his case, in the case of Othello, this error of judgment was avoidable, but he acted hastily, carelessly, and therefore it was not avoided. So, in the second case, the action is done hastily and carelessly. So, the first case is something is done in ignorance. In the second case, something is done with rashness, without much thinking, quickly and hastily. The third case is the one in which some error is done, some error is committed, that error of judgment which is committed is not deliberate. Undeliberately, it is done, and it is done often in anger or in passion. And the example in Shakespearean tragedy is King Lear. He, in a fit of passion, kicks out Cordelia out of his country, and as a result, this thing becomes a kind of tragic flaw for him, a kind of error of judgment, and Lear suffers because of this banishment of Cordelia. However, all these three happen at the same time wonderfully in Oedipus. This hamartia arises in Oedipus, including all these factors, all these three factors. The defect of character is there in him. There is a passionate act, just like that Lear had that passion, and it is done in ignorance. The defect of character is this, that he very proudly announces and asserts that he would find out the person who is responsible for the plague. There has been a big plague, a kind of pandemic, just like we have nowadays, worse than that, worse than COVID-19. People were dying, and they were requesting the king for some solution, because he had done, he had given some solution for some problems before this when he came to that country, and his people think that he would be able to do something for it, and he has already taken action to find out the cause of that plague. Then there is a passionate act. This is the second thing which we find in it. The passionate act is the killing of a man in anger. And the final one is ignorance. He doesn't know that the man he has killed in anger was his own father, and the woman he has married is his own mother. He does not know all these things. So there is the defect in the character, there is the passionate act, and there is ignorance, all three found in one drama. He commits this error in blindness and in innocence. He is innocent because he was running from fulfilling this fate, but he was actually nearing fulfilling it. The critic Butcher remarks and tells us that Othello in the modern drama and Oedipus in ancient drama are the two most conspicuous examples, clear examples, obvious examples of ruin. In both cases, they are ruined. Oedipus is ruined, Othello is ruined, and this ruin wrought by characters, it is brought about by characters, noble indeed. That is, Oedipus was noble, Othello was noble, but not without defects. Both of them had defects. Othello's defect was jealousy, and he acted in rashness, and Oedipus had all these three flaws discussed above. So they were not without defects, acting in the dark, without knowing what they were doing, as it seemed for the best. They thought that the result would be the best one. So these are the three ways in which hamartia can arise. The first is the ignorance of the circumstances. The second is rashness, hastiness, carelessness. And the third is this error is committed, but not deliberately. All these things are found in Oedipus at the same time. Comparing the Greek tragic here, इसको जरा उर्दू में भी सुन लें. तीन तरीकों से हेमार्थिया अराइज हो सकता है किसी ट्रेजिक हीरो में, और हेमार्थिया ये एरर ऑफ जजमेंट भी है, اس کو ٹریجک فلا بھی کہتے ہیں، اس کو فیٹل فلا بھی کہتے ہیں. یہ مس کیلکولیشن ہے اور یہ 3 طریقوں سے آ سکتا ہے. پہلا طریقہ یہ ہے کہ جو شخص یہ کام کر رہا ہے وہ اگنورنٹ آف دی سرکمسٹانسز ہے، اس کو پتہ ہی نہیں ہے وہ کیا کر رہا ہے، وہ بے خبر ہے. سیکنڈ یہ ہے کہ یہ کام کرتا ہے بڑی جلدی میں، کیئرلیسلی، اور جلدی میں رشنس کی وجہ سے کام خراب ہو جاتا ہے. جیسے اوتھیلو کو جیلس بناتا ہے کہ ڈیسٹیمونا کا تعلق کسی اور کے ساتھ ہے، اور اوتھیلو اسی کی وجہ سے ڈیسٹیمونا کو قتل کرتا ہے. تیسرا جو ہے یہ جو ڈیڈ ہے، مس ڈیڈ ہے، ایرر ہے، یہ کیا تو جاتا ہے لیکن ڈیلیبریٹلی نہیں ہوتا، انڈیلیبریٹلی کیا جاتا ہے کسی غصے کی وجہ سے، کسی اور پیشن کی وجہ سے. مثلا کنگ لیئر جو ہے پیشن کی وجہ سے اچانک غصے کی وجہ سے بینش کرتا ہے، جلا وطن کرتا ہے کارڈیلیا کو. ایڈیپس کے کیس میں یہ زبردست ڈرامہ ہے. یہ تینوں ڈیفیکٹس پائے جاتے ہیں. ڈیفیکٹ آف کیریکٹر بھی موجود ہے، پیشن اٹیک بھی موجود ہے، اگنورنس بھی موجود ہے. ڈیفیکٹ آف کیریکٹر تو یہ ہے کہ یہ بڑے فخر سے اعلان کرتا ہے کہ ہم معلوم کریں گے کہ پلیگ کے لیے کون ذمہ دار ہے، اور یہ خود ذمہ دار نکلتا ہے. ایک جلدی کا ایکٹ وہ کرتا ہے اور وہ ہے کہ غصے میں ایک بندے کو مارتا ہے، وہ بعد میں پتہ چلتا ہے اس کا اپنا ابو ہے. اور اگنورنس تو ہے ہی، کسی کو پتہ ہی نہیں ہے کہ اس نے ابو کو مارا ہے اور اس نے ماں سے شادی کی ہے، یہ اگنورنس میں ہوتا ہے. اور یہ ایک قسم کی بلائنڈنس اور انسنس اس میں پائی جاتی ہے. بچر ہمیں بتاتا ہے کہ ماڈرن ڈرامہ میں اوتھیلو ہے، اینشنٹ ڈرامہ میں ایڈیپس ہے. یہ دو واضح ایگزامپلز ہیں تباہی کے، جو کردار خود اپنے اوپر لاتے ہیں، اور یہ دونوں نوبل کردار ہیں لیکن بغیر ڈیفیکٹ کے نہیں، ان میں خرامیاں ہیں، اور یہ اندھیرے میں عمل کرتے ہیں، بے خبری میں، اور ان کا خیال ہے کہ ان سے کام ٹھیک ہوگا، کام خراب ہو جاتا ہے. The next is the Greek tragedy. We are discussing actually the Aristotle's concept of tragic hero. So the items we are discussing now, these 3 ways in which hamartia can arise, is part of that question. The same is the case with this part, Greek tragic hero versus modern tragic hero. So heroes in Greek dramas, they were often men of eminence and position, great men, generals, sometimes kings, as is the case of Oedipus. The whole nation depends upon the fate of Oedipus. Therefore, he is very important. This importance is important because if such an important person falls, then this fall is considered to be striking and great because the whole nation depended upon him. In modern tragedy, more or less the same type of people are considered as heroes. For example, Othello is a general, Coriolanus was a general, and Macbeth was a good fighter in general. So often we have such characters as heroes, but this is not necessary. A hero or a heroine can belong to the lower status in life. However, most of them belong to the high status, even in modern tragedy. The greater the man, the better the arousal of pity and fear. So therefore, as the whole nation depends upon a person, that person becomes important, and when he falls, the fall is considered very great, and pity and fear are aroused. So this is the difference between the two, and the similarity also. In the conclusion, we say, this is the conclusion of that question, Aristotle's concept of tragic hero, looking at Greek tragedies, Aristotle's concept of tragic hero is quite acceptable according to Greek tragedies. He is right in saying that the tragic hero should not be perfectly good or bad. This is what he says. And that he should be appropriate, consistent, and true to life. However, after investigation into the modern drama, if you investigate them, his vision seems limited because Shaw and Eliot have shown that perfectly good people like saints can also be effective tragic heroes and they can also arouse pity and fear. Shakespeare has shown that villainous men like Othello. Oh, Othello was not villainous, Macbeth was, so it should be replaced with Macbeth. Let me replace it with Macbeth. Can be tragic heroes. Tragedy is caused by an error of judgment or hamartia. This point is true to modern tragedies too. The main limitation of Aristotle's concept of tragic hero is that it is based only on Greek tragedy. However, we cannot blame Aristotle for it. तो ये उर्दू में भी सुन लें, ग्रीक और ट्रेजिक हीरो में फ़र्क तो इतना नहीं है, दोनों में एक अजीम आदमी को लिया जाता है, ख्वा हीरो ख्वा जनरल हो, ताकि ये जब नाकाम होगा गिरेगा तो इसकी गिरने की आवाज़ भी बड़ी होगी। मॉडर्न ट्रेजेडी में भी बड़े लोगों को लिया जाता है, लेकिन ये ज़रूरी नहीं है, लो पोजीशन रखने वालों को भी रखा जा सकता है और पीटी और फियर के अराउजल में दोनों में मुमकिन है, यहाँ तक कि सेंट्स में भी मुमकिन है। कंक्लूजन में हमने ये पढ़ा कि अरिस्टोटल का जो कॉन्सेप्ट है हीरो का एक्सेप्टेबल है, वो हमें बताता है कि हीरो बैड भी कम्प्लीटली ना हो, गुड भी कम्प्लीटली ना हो, अप्रोप्रिएटनेस रखता हो, कंसिस्टेंट हो, ट्रू टू लाइफ हो। अलबत्ता मॉडर्न ट्रेजेडीज में शॉ और एलियट ने, जैसे मर्डर इन द कैथेड्रल है, उसने सेंट्स को लिया है एज ट्रेजिक हीरो और मैकबेथ शेक्सपियर ने मैकबेथ को लिया है जो कि अच्छे लोग नहीं, जो कि अच्छा बंदा नहीं था सिरे से। तो ये मुमकिन है कि इस तरह इन लोगों की मदद से भी ट्रेजेडी बनाई जाए, ताहम अरिस्टोटल का इसमें कसूर नहीं है क्योंकि ग्रीक ट्रेजेडी में ऐसा उन्होंने नहीं किया था। So that's all about Aristotle's concept of tragic hero. Thank you and good luck.